Happy Wednesday. Always glad to be back here at Launch Fayette for 1 Million Cups. I saw a couple new faces walk in the room, so I'm going to ask you if you could please raise your hand. I will not make you stand up or speak. I actually have a gift for you, so if this is your first time attending 1 Million Cups, please raise your hand. Yeah, Abby, we're going to need more notebooks.
Okay.
I think I've got 4 here, and I think we may need 2 more.
Okay.
All right, so for those of you who are attending for the first time, let me explain that 1 Million Cups is an organization started by the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City, and they have the mission of caffeinating entrepreneurs every Wednesday through this mechanism called 1 Million Cups. And the format is that each presenter has 6 minutes to present, and then it's followed by a question that I ask. What can we as a community do for you? And then there's like 20 minutes of Q&A. Then all the other communities across the country, they rinse and repeat. They do it again. We don't have 2 presenters per week here because we have a hard time filling 1 presenter per week. Although I am excited to say that we are booked through, I think Abby told me yesterday, through the end of October?
The 8th of October.
8th of October. So for the month of September, we can rest a little bit. That's not true. We have to hustle and fill the pipeline. There's never a rest. But I want to, the people who are here, I've always asked you to help me promote and get people to sign up, and it is working. We are getting people who are signing up. Today's presenter, as a matter of fact, just found us organically on social. We have 2 guests in the room who are here this morning who found us organically on social, or on Google, rather. So, things are working, so let's just keep that going.
Hands again, please.
So, Jay, could you pass this to the people? So, that's 1 Million Cups. You are in Launch Fayette, which is a small business incubator here on the south side of Atlanta. And as I say every week, I need you all to use this magic I need you to use that magic QR code, because with that one scan, it'll bring you to one of those Linktree pages where you can check in to not only 1 Million Cups, but also to, let's see if I can freeze it there. I realize it's hard to see from the back of the room, but with this one QR code, you can now check into 1MC. You can join our private Facebook group. You can check in with Launch Fayette. You can see upcoming Fayette Chamber of Commerce events. You can learn more about the 2025 Fayette Pitch Contest. And you can sign up for Jason Hunter Designs Fresh Look Friday newsletter, which I guarantee will not be a letdown for you. So, just kind of with that. So, Kauffman Foundation, they like to track all these check-ins so that they can provide us with numbers, right? How many entrepreneurs have been served and how many people have attended. And last year, the Southeast region kicked butt, and I would love to contribute to that number again. So thank you for checking in there. The private Facebook group. So one of the things that Kauffman Foundation tells us organizers is that we're not supposed to refer to 1 Million Cups as a networking event. But I'm going to tell you, and everybody who has been here week after week will tell you, this is probably the best networking that you get anywhere, right? But it's maybe because we don't frame it as a networking group, and that's very intentional. In order for us to truly network and connect outside of this room, that's why we created that private Facebook group. It's private in so much that I try to only allow the familiar faces that I see into the group. But once you're in there, you are welcome to ask questions and share and just connect in every way possible. It is a very underutilized tool. Yes, Jay?
A word was brought to my attention last week from somebody I met. She said, we don't use networking, we use net weaving.
Net weaving, I've heard that.
And that we weave into each other because 3 or 4 cords weaved together cannot be broken. And so I really thought that was really neat because that's what 1 Million Cups is trying to do. Right. Weave into each other's lives and to each other's businesses.
Yeah, that's truly building a community is exactly that, right?
Might be another, it's not a networking.
I don't have to, right, I can get around that. Net weaving, I like it. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, well, the rest of it is pretty clear. Once you scan the QR code, you'll see all these things there, and just click each button as you see fit. And just, I'm thanking you ahead of time for that. I stopped the slides in order to, let's see if this will work for me. All right, so my next big announcement is that Night Market is coming up on October 3rd. I am proud to have been bringing this to Peachtree City since 2017. The event just keeps getting bigger and better, and honestly, it's because of a lot of the people in this room who show up as volunteers. So once again, I just want to thank those people. You know who you are. And if we haven't confirmed you for October 3rd, you'll be hearing from us soon. But it's going to be another great event. Everything is running really smoothly, and we're looking forward to it. Startup Fayette, the next one is on, it's always the third Tuesday of the month, so the next one is September 16th. Resident entrepreneur here at Launch Fayette, Karen Rands, is going to be our speaker talking about funding options. I don't know about you, I've been in business a long time, but raising money is like the most uncomfortable thing for me, and I think it's because I just don't understand it. She's going to help us break down those barriers and help us to figure all that stuff out. And that's from 5 to 7 right here in this room. The Chamber of Commerce provides pizza, so please come. But we do ask that you RSVP on the Chamber's website so we know how much pizza to get.
It's not on their website yet, which is beef that I will raise later.
Yeah, we'll get it on their website today so you can register. 'Cause I also said I wanted to switch it to our site, but I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So for now, Chamber website. But
If you show up, you will not be turned away.
yeah, there's always extra pizza. Like I usually bring a pizza home. There's a lot left over. And then I mentioned quickly on that QR code that there's a pitch contest coming up. So in line with Startup Fayette, the third Tuesday of the month, November 18th is our pitch contest. That will go from 5 to 8. And it's being held at Stars Mill High School Auditorium. It seats 1,200 people. I need you to help me fill those seats. I do not expect 1,200 people. I would love to have 200 people. That would be a huge success for us. But we are changing it up this year. We're doing it Shark Tank style. Our 3 judges will invest startup bucks in each of the 5 presentations that night. There will be a prelim round leading up to that. So when you see those 5 that night, it'll be the cream of the crop. However, on the third Tuesday in October is the semifinal round. So for anybody who wants to come to a Startup Fayette and watch the semifinal round, it'll be here, most likely right here in this room. And you'll get to hear, well, we don't actually know how many presentations because the application just opened. So stay tuned for that. Really, there you go. There are the dates as far as when the September applications open and close and when we let them know. So October 21st, that's the semifinal round. And I think that Ray has something to say. For those of you that knew about it ahead of time, Ray did one of these sessions right here at Launch Fayette. And the next one coming up is going to be done by Blue Coal. Right. And Ray's going to introduce that program.
Blue Coal is a recently engaged director in Peachtree City, and is very knowledgeable, and particularly in terms of foundation funding. So if any of you are working on projects where foundation funding would be helpful, his presentation will be from 9 until noon on September 11th. That's the next one. 2 weeks after that, representatives from the U.S. Patent and Trade Office will be here talking about intellectual property. So again, from 9 to noon. Every 2 weeks, we're scheduled to be able to do training events that specifically are focused on being able to help entrepreneurs either further your business or take the business that you currently are running to new levels. So those are the next 2 events. We have posters in the other room and also here. And to let you know that the Entrepreneur in Residence program that Steve and I and couple of other people are involved in, are being able, our support for you, we have office hours to be able to just be a sounding board for you. We are experienced entrepreneurs who are giving back to the community. So thanks very much for being here and for being part of Million Cups.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
All right. So, this morning, as I mentioned, we have a presenter who had stumbled upon us, I believe he said on social, which is pretty cool. As you know, we do like to have our presenters join us as part of the community first, but he came all the way down from Marietta this morning and fought the traffic to get here, so he is here to present his business, the Athletes Portal, or I should say they, are you guys both going to stand up? They, Keith and AD, and AD does not stand for Athletic Director, although it seems very fitting. But you guys are welcome to come on up and get started.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for coming out.
The down arrow will advance this slide.
Okay.
So backwards.
All right. Thank you for coming out. My name is Keith Williams. I'm the founder of the Athletes Portal.
I'm A.D. Slayton. I'm the CTO of the Athletes Portal.
Just a quick thing on, I'll tell you about my background. I have sales and marketing background, entrepreneurial. I'm also the father of a student athlete, which also is a big motivation for why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I'm also a father of a student athlete, but my background is in software engineering. Currently, I am a vice president of engineering at This.Labs, Labs, and I focus on AI implementation and workflows.
So the Athletes Portal. Essentially what the Athletes Portal is, it's a community for the parents of student athletes. And it's also for parents to be connected with what I call trusted experts. The world of sports has changed, it's gotten more complicated, and this is not a solo mission. We all know that there's money that is flowing into sports now, not just at the college level, but at the high school level. And one of the most important things is for our parents to be equipped to help our student athletes succeed. Student athletes have two jobs: succeed in the classroom and succeed on the sports field. They don't need anything else to have to worry about. So here's the challenge. As I said, the biggest challenge for student athletes in sports in general, especially from the parent perspective, is trust. I'm going to share a quick story. So my son plays basketball, and there comes a level when your child playing a sport needs more support than you can give them. My son is 6'4". I can't really do much to be much of a challenge to him when he's playing basketball. When he was younger, it was easier to push him around. But eventually you have to get trainers, people who can help support your kid in their sport. And so my son went to the school, and this school that was a private school. And one of the individuals that we were told could train him was a former NBA player. Seemed like a no-brainer to me. And that didn't work out so well. And what I learned from talking to other parents was this just wasn't his strength or his gift. So again, when we trust, the biggest thing, that's why I say trust is so important, because we need to know that the people who are helping prepare our kids to get to where they want to get to are trustworthy, that we can trust them, and that they can help our kids achieve their goals and dreams and aspirations. This success, like I said, is not a solo mission. It takes a village. And there are a lot of resources that are needed when your child starts to get to the high school level, middle school and high school. And the reason for that is you have people who are nutritionists, physical trainers, people who can record video of your child performing their sport. So it really takes a community for kids nowadays to succeed in their sports. And that is really the big push for why we're doing what we're doing with the Athletes Portal. So there is a massive engaged market for this. People spend a lot of money to ensure that their kids are going to be successful in their sport. On average, on an annual basis, parents are spending somewhere in the neighborhood of about $17,000 per student. And that's because some sports require travel, Obviously, as I said before, they require things like trainers. Also, another area that is coming up is mental health, right? There's a lot of pressure on these students to succeed. So it's not just enough to help them, perform well at their sport. They do need that mental health. They also need recovery in certain sports. You're talking maybe like football, your body's taking a pounding. You need these services. And again, the power of the community, right? Because I'll tell you something, I've learned more from other parents than from any other resource. Why? Because they've been where I'm going. I would be crazy not to talk to. I'll share an example with you. My son has 21 Division I offers. I said, you got to narrow this thing down because these coaches are calling a lot. How do you know? Everybody is nice when they're trying to recruit you. How do you distinguish one program from another? And so one of the things I started asking them was, hey, can I talk to one of the parents on your roster? Not the superstar, the walk-on. Get a very different perspective when you talk to the parents than when you talk to the coaches. Again, everybody doesn't know this, right? And the power is in the community. And so that's the real power of this platform, is it's about parents connecting with parents, and it's about resources, those trusted experts, we're verifying them, that we know they're going to do a good job and do right by the kids. Because the mission here is for the kids to succeed on the sports field and off the field. And we need those resources in place. So like I said, parent to parent is some of the best advice and guidance you can get. Also, there are diverse revenue streams in this business. The way this business will work is there'll be a subscription-based model, particularly for the vendors. That's a trusted expert. So that, as I said, you have trainers who train student athletes, specializing in their sports. You have physical trainers who train them in weights, getting stronger. You also have mental health specialists, because again, sports, there's a lot of mental pressure on kids. You also have tutors, because even if you're a student athlete who's excelling in the classroom, I've seen students who are great students who use tutors, and I've seen students who are struggling to use tutors. This is not uncommon. So again, as parents, we want to hear from another parent about this expert who's going to be working with our kids. Because I'll tell you something, I don't take lightly what I'm going to have around my child. And there's an importance again of trust. I'm going to keep emphasizing this. Give me an example. My daughter also plays sports. If I'm having a young man train her in his 20s and they're going to a gym by themselves, I'm not just dropping her off and having somebody train her I don't know. I'm going to be there, right? If she's she's preteen, and it would help if I had, again, another parent saying, well, hey, this person is a good trainer, it's a good person, you can trust them. So, every parent can relate to that. This is not a surprise. And this is why, again, the emphasis of this platform is about building community and hearing from other parents. Because that's really how it makes it easy for parents to make decisions on these trusted experts. Somebody's vouched for them. So again, with this platform, with the diverse revenue streams, the vendors, what we're trying to do is help the vendors be able to serve the student athlete. So they will pay a subscription fee and they will be part of a community. And if they're part of a community, it's easier for them to build a relationship and to be able to gain trust with the parents, because that's really what all the parents want. They want to know that they can trust that person with their kid. Because I'll tell you something, the success of your kid in a sport is probably a top 5 priority in your life. I don't have to know you to know that that is going to be a high priority. And so that is really the power of this platform. And also we're looking to do affiliate marketing, because again, NIL now is getting really huge. And there are a lot of people who just don't know and understand it. So that's your name, image, and likeness. So that's being able to get marketing deals from brands. Collective is what is paid through the college. So again, a lot of parents, honestly, the average person doesn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't find out a lot about NIL until these people started calling my son. He's in high school. I'm like, why are they calling? Because once he started getting offers, and it was posted on social media, all of a sudden these guys start calling, and you've got to deal with that. Because in the world that we're in, I know for me, myself as a parent, I'm not letting my son deal with the grown adult without me getting, especially if money's involved, right? So, and like I said, most parents have no idea what, I didn't even know what the percentage was for an NIL agent or how you sell. I knew nothing about it. And so I'm sure I'm not the only one. So again, having a community and a platform that can address that. And the biggest thing for me is kids shouldn't have to deal with that. They got enough to deal with on their plate. They don't need to be dealing with an agent. We focus on school and their sport. So that really is the power of the platform. We're educating the parents, we're getting them involved, and like I said, parents learn from parents, because I'll tell you something, I'll trust a parent way more than I'll trust an agent. So that really is the value of this platform.
So what is it, right? We talked about the trust, we got that nailed down. We got the parent interaction, we got the student. What are we really building? We're really building, you think of it more like a community, a LinkedIn. You think of a LinkedIn where you have professionals. This is more about linking parents to parents, linking students to students. So when we think of NIL means many things, right? You can be a spokesperson for an auto shop. You can represent a company online. But how do you learn about these opportunities? That's what we're building. We're building networks, and everyone hears the buzzword AI, right? How do you start to connect all these things? AI is at the center of what we're building. We're using AI to build the code. We're using AI for the marketing. We're using AI to actually create the networks and link everyone, right? We're being thoughtful, and privacy and trust is A1 for our platform. And again, the platform is about building the community. How do we actually get parents in the Peachtree City community to actually talk to each other, to understand what they're experiencing, right? Typically, we got to go to things like band or group meet, to meet your other parents that are in your sub-community within the school. But how do you actually talk to the broader community, right? You can come to things like this, but how do you actually have a platform that you can actually meet people? And this outlines what it would take to build a platform. Right, we're looking for an investment of $300,000 for the first year to actually get it off the ground. We have a prototype where you actually can go and talk to other parents. Right, if you log into the system, you can do that. But this is our initial investment to get it going. So that's what we're looking for.
Also, for the way we're launching it, I want to focus on areas in the Southeast, because we're focusing on basketball and football. Obviously, football is huge in the Southeast, as is basketball. And so we're targeting areas, obviously, like Georgia, Florida, California, DC. I also believe it's going to grow just naturally through people sharing and talking about it. Because, like I said, the topics that we're focusing on are things that people are already trying to get educated on. Like I said, the biggest thing that parents are really trying to figure out is how to navigate through NIL. And so I think that will naturally expand the growth. I also feel like mental health, let's not underestimate that. There's a lot of pressure on these kids. They're on social media, so they're gonna hear the good, the bad, and so I feel like that mental health piece is very important. And so that, I believe, is gonna help grow the platform, because, like I said, the power of the community, you can't underestimate that. There are parents whose kids now are going now to different schools out of state. When you go to when some student athletes are going to different colleges. So it's not just going to be within the borders, and it's an online platform.
So we're starting with, we're starting with two sports. We're starting with football and basketball, because we know that those are opportunities. It's the broader sports that most people are interested in. So we're starting in Georgia, then we're looking to expand to California.
Yeah.
And a couple other states. But we really want to target Georgia first, right? Really understand the market, because NIL is real in high school now, right? Not just college. So how does a parent, how do you navigate that world? As a professional, how do you navigate that world? And that's why we're building this community, to help you navigate, not just the students, but the parents and the broader community, the vendors. How do you get vendors to connect? How do you actually create these NIL deals, right? How do you actually keep it moving? So we're actually thinking about the whole economy around it, but we're starting with let's just build a community. Let's just get people to talk to each other. Let's get parents some information. So that's the platform we're building.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're going to do too, in order to create engagement, is we're going to have what I call tap talks, which is the vendors are going to have like a webinar on their particular skill set, and they're going to go on and do presentations and talk. and basically educate people who are on the platform about what they do. And at the same time, they're promoting, they have an opportunity for people to work with them. So we are also trying to help the vendors with their business by giving them an active market of people who can work with them. And as AD said, we are definitely focusing on Georgia, and then we'll expand out. I also think the other thing we're trying to do for a goal is we're trying to hit 5,000 registered parents and 100 vendors. So the strategy really for getting the parents on board is targeting the schools. I believe targeting private schools, parents are a little bit more willing to spend money on and investing on their kids' sports. So starting there, and also you can expand through travel teams. So that's another area where we're going to target people. But definitely hitting the schools up and building those relationships with the leaderships of the schools in order to really grow that base of parents.
Now we're outside of like the face-to-face, right? We're going to have a marketing push online. How do you get, so one of the things we're thinking about is having video calls between student athletes and trainers or other resources. But the point is we're trying to just to connect the community, right? I just want to really build on the community. How do you get the community to work together? Not the revenue. Yeah, we do have revenue targets. We do have like investment lines, but it's really about how do you educate the community, right? And all these other things are auxiliary to just bringing people together. And that's our number one goal. And how do you build that trust between people, right? That is the number one goal.
Also, as we were saying, this is a AI platform. The way I see the AI platform is, particularly for the vendors, is be able to have them focus on what they do best, almost like a storefront. So it's like having a Shopify for, say, a mental health therapist or for a personal trainer. What I've found in just working with personal trainers, they're great at what they do. They're not always good at the business side of what they do. So, in terms of billing, in terms of setting up, having systems in place, that's not really their expertise. They're great at what they do, and so having a platform where they can sign up and have that taken care of that allows them to keep what I call the main thing, focus on what they do best, and then we help them with the back end things. At the end of the day, the objective here is to help the student athlete succeed in two places, on the field and in the classroom. Everybody understands this, everybody understands their roles. If you're a personal trainer, you work with kids, you're doing this because this is something you're passionate about and that you have a strong interest in. We're just trying to help you with that and help connect you to those student athletes. And then, like I said, build that community. Because the community is where the trust is built, and that's how people make decisions a lot quicker when they trust the trusted experts who are part of the platform, part of the community. Why we will win? First of all, I think we have skill sets that complement each other. I have more of a sales and marketing background. AD is great with technology, and we have another individual, CJ Haynes, creative and good with technology. So I think having that type of team that complements each other and works together, that is a key reason for why this thing will succeed. I will also say I'm a customer, I'm a parent. So I get it. He's a parent, he gets it. I also know the market because I know the parents, I know the challenges they're going through. I'm talking to them. And like I said, I've had success because, like I said, my son got 21 D1 offers, and a lot of what I learned was from other parents. They were telling me the parents. First of all, there weren't a lot of parents that we knew that were in D1 basketball, so there were a handful of them. But I asked them what they did. I asked them, for example, one of the parents sent their kid to a prep school. I didn't know that out of state. I was like, you're crazy. The kid got a lot better. I was like, oh wow. And my son was like, hey, I want to do that. Boom, we sent him, and it helped. So it's just, you learn from other parents. So I do think that having that type of thing, having that type of community where we can learn from each other it's definitely going to be something that's effective because there are results that show, and we have proven results from the path we've taken. I always say, your parents who are the kids who've achieved what you're trying to achieve, they're the GPS for how to get there. Like I said, trust. That's what this, you've seen this has been kind of the theme of this presentation, has been trust. Trust is what gets things done. Trust is what allows people to take action. Also, like I said, we're using technology to connect people and to connect people with the resources that they need. So I feel like community technology is a game changer and a strong tool.
I feel like personally, I'm ready to start asking questions.
Sure, we're ready.
I don't know how many more slides we're allowed.
No, we're good. We're good. We're done. We're done.
Yeah, so as I prepped you before, I'm going to ask you, what can we as a community do for you? So I would like you to have an ask of us now. And I don't know about everybody else, but I took notes. I've got some thoughts. So why don't you answer my question, and then we'll ask you some.
Sure.
What do we need? We need testers. We need people to test our platform. We need insights on like where do we go for funding sources. We need those are the two things that we really need. Like, how do you test the platform? How do you onboard? And then where do we go for funding sources?
I saw you taking a picture of that Startup Fayette slide.
Yes.
Now I understand why.
Yeah. No, I agree with AD. I can't argue with that. I would say maybe just getting maybe additional perspectives from parents, like some of the challenges that they're having. If their parents out here as student athletes, hey, share some of the challenges, some of the things you feel that are challenging that you're dealing with your student athlete. On top of what AD just shared. So.
Well, if I may, really quickly, I guess I'm up here, so I get to go first. See all the hands popped up. Is it an app? Is it a website? Is it both?
It's currently a website. It's easier for us to deploy, but eventually it will be a mobile app.
Understood. Have you heard of the baseball blue book?
No.
Something to look into in terms of a model, because I came very close to doing a project for someone who was, I guess, taking over the baseball blue book. So I don't know where that went to, but it's essentially that exact type of community. And what we dug into is, if I'm a parent and I'm looking for advice on the best cleats, it would be the kind of question that I could ask. So sort of different, also baseball, not football or basketball. I don't know if there's a basketball blue book. I don't know. It's just something for you to look into.
Sure, thank you.
You've hit the word community a bunch of times, which obviously lights me up, so I love that. I am a little bit hung up on, it feels to me like the main purpose of this is to, in fact, help parents navigate the world of NIL. How many, I don't know, I have really young kids, but my brother, who's 10 years younger than me, was a professional basketball player overseas. So like I've been through this before NIL was a thing.
Sure.
And I know it was, for my parents, I'm 10 years older, so I was kind of a part of that. We got to kind of interview all these managers together, and how do you figure out which team you're going to go to. He played in Israel. That's a major life change for our entire family, right? So it would have been helpful to have that community. And I think we actually found community. I don't know who set that up for us, or if we were just lucky, because again, we knew where to, somehow through community, knew where to send them to go to high school. He got the right coaches, went to UPenn. Like, I don't know, it's just all the pieces fit. But I think the point is, it was because of community. I think there were people guiding us along the way. So I'd say all that is to just say I think there's extreme value in creating community, as we all know. And yeah, that's kind of it. The only like hesitation I have on your pricing model is essentially these vendors, they're going to pay because they want access to athletes and athletes' parents, but they're essentially paying to be criticized. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It can be very positive, right? Critiquing somebody, that's all I mean. But they're saying, please, I'm here in this two-sided marketplace, please talk about me. Hopefully it's positive, because that's going to lead to better business for me. And I don't know if I'm stuck on that in a bad way or not, but that's just kind of what I'm It's kind of what I'm.
Yeah, because we will have a review system, right, where people will give feedback.
That's how parents are going to communicate about it, right? I mean, even if it's not public and it's
Right.
behind the scenes, you're essentially setting up conversations to talk about
Right.
the services and providers behind their back.
That's a good point.
Yes.
And that's, that could be uncomfortable, but it could also be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes, right?
Yes. I also think that they're going in knowing that. And I'll tell you something, I've worked with trainers, and one of the things that they always tell me that is, they respect the fact that I trust them with their kid, with my kid. So they respect that, they get that, they understand, hey, it's a big deal. Even coaches, they respect the fact that you trust your kid with them. That's a huge honor, so I do think
Trust
that-
is huge. I mean, not just in the one-on-one coaching, but you think about your 21 offers, they're all going to show up in their best outfits and with the nicest cars, and they're going to make the best big first impression, right?
Yeah.
But how do you truly know what it's like? I love that you said, let me talk to the parent of the kid that was a walk-on on your roster.
Yeah.
Then you're going to really get a sense of,
Yeah.
of how the kids are treated.
Yes.
So that's great. There's a lot of hands. I'm going to let you select people. Because
Gentleman in the
Fluorescent shirt.
Fluorescent shirt.
you really stand out.
So I don't know your name, so I can just.
I'm Emmett Spurlock, live in Fayetteville. You two seem to be very passionate about this because you have skin in the game. My question is, when your kids are done with using TAP, how do you propose to continue this as your legacy?
I'm glad you asked that. So the other part of the business that I'm thinking down the road is career coaching for college students. Because what happens is, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but some of these college athletes are making a whole lot of money. And they're not going to make that kind of money when they finish school and go out to the real world. One of the things I found, colleges don't do a good job of preparing kids after they graduate. They don't sit down with them and give them guidance. Thus, you see we have a high unemployment rate for young college graduates. So I want to have college career coaching for student athletes while they're in college, like just before they're finishing up graduating. Because when they graduate, it's kind of too late. You want to kind of get that coaching in. Hey, what are you going to do after this is over? So that's how I address it.
Now I was looking at for you guys and this in your venture when your kids are done.
What's our
plan for our kids?
When you guys are done, because then you may not have as much invested into it because it's not your kids anymore.
No, I hear you. First of all, I love doing this, and even so my son plays away out of state, and I still am in the community of our local school. So I know when he's gone and he's done, it's something I'm still going to be engaged with because I just enjoy it. I like to see kids win and kick butt, and I've seen kids from, the kid you didn't expect to be really good who was in middle school, and all of a sudden he's a star. Like I showed you what my son looked like in middle school. Little guy, and then he just sprouted up. And so it's the same thing. Like it's just watching kids in the community grow. So I would still do that. I love doing that. I love seeing the kids win and succeed.
So for me, I'm a technologist. I'm an engineer. Right. My passion is building the platform, not necessarily the products of the platform. Right. That's key. Right. I'm building the platform, and eventually my exit strategy is really to build this up so I can sell it. Right. And I can move on to the next thing. Right. But my passion and love is in the technology. Right. I'm building all these things to create the products. Right. So that's my thrill of it.
Gentleman over here.
Yeah. So I'm named Virgil Hooper, natural advisor. I have a question about this community, right? I know that a lot of platforms, say Amazon, eBay, is that community feedback on the service, right? Early on, when you only want to have 3 users, someone can really skew those views, right? Do y'all have what's your mechanism to make sure that that doesn't happen? I mean, kids are important, like I have children too. And sometimes I'll read the review going like, me personally, I probably need to talk to these people to make sure I'm good with it, right? Do y'all have any like internal review within your company before you let people go in through the reviews?
Yeah. So we will have the first flight. We will have moderation, right? So it will moderate, and we'll have AI back in moderation and some human on top of that.
Okay.
Right, to moderate the community, to make sure that people are saying, they're staying above board, right? They're following our community practices and guidelines. So if you post something wild, right, we'll block it, right? We'll have banned terms, we'll have banned pictures, we'll be able to see all these things like images and things of that nature, right? We can scan it. We can do a first pass scan with some of these tools right before you actually post it. So we'll do things like that.
So there's criteria.
Yeah, we have community guidelines.
AI, when you test to get through, or you can see it, hey, these people may not be real, or hey, tell 50 people.
Right, so we can do easy things like, email validation, right? You can need to validate, you get an SMS message. I mean, we can validate you are a human.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we're going to leverage some of these tools, right? It's easier, I'm going to say it's easy. It's easier to leverage some of these tools to do a first pass.
Okay.
But we still need that human in the loop, right, to make sure that everything's above board.
Okay.
That's why we have a great team.
All right. I'm a parent with a child who's very interested in a sport. What would I be looking at, or how would I come to you, and what would I expect in terms of financials for him?
So,
have you a structure in how you're offering your services?
So I think in the beginning, if I understand you correctly, you want to join the community with your child. You want it for your child. For starters, I would say we're going to have like a free service, just like anything you're signing on. And it's about when you put your information in, it'll have the sport that your child is playing and your area. So I think what that will do, plan on doing the technology, is being able to connect with people who are within your geographical area. I believe it's a build your own community. So meaning that the community, it's an organic growth. I also think that we will have an ability for you to be able to invite others into the community. I also think we'll separate it out by sport and middle school, high school, so that will also be relevant. So if your child, let's say, is in middle school, that's kind of the category you're in, but you'll have the ability to connect with people in high school more from an advisory perspective.
Yeah, so we have a recommendation engine, right, based on your interests. So when you register, to Keith's point, you're going to say, hey, my kids in football, they're in basketball, they have these metrics, right, they're 6'4", 330, right, these are metrics. Then we can say, all right, we can, based on the information that we get from schools, then we can say, all right, we recommend these schools based on these characteristics of your kid. Or you in this particular community, based on the information that you've given us on your preferences, we can recommend these are schools, these are certain trainers in your area you might want to contact, or you might want to link up with. So it's all about the information you put into the system, then we can leverage that to say, all right, you might think about this, might think about this person, probably should connect with this person, or use these two.
I also think it'll help you from the perspective of, particularly in middle school, like what is the standard for whatever position you play. So like, for example, your kid is playing, I don't know, let's say they're playing football, and they want to be a quarterback. Well, high school quarterbacks are this tall, this weight, this, so there's enough data for you to understand where your kid stands in terms of, okay, they're below the average, they're above the average. Then also, I think every school is not equal, right? So if you go to, there's some schools that are powerhouse schools, right? Like, give an example, basketball, my son's team is a prep team. These kids are 6'4", 6'10", 6'10". That's not a normal high school, right? But they recruit from all over the country. But your regular high school down the street, the kids are 5'9", 6 feet. They're different levels. So having that data will allow you to understand, okay, here's where my kid stands. My kid, and it's what parents want to know. They want to know, they don't want to set their kid up for failure. Like, they're not going to sit there, like their high school might be a powerhouse high school. Wheeler, for example, is a powerhouse high school for basketball. Like, a lot of kids, they're guys who've gone to the NBA from Wheeler. That's going to be a hard basketball team to make. Whereas if you go to the local, your local regular school, you probably make that team. So it's just having that data so you know where your kid will succeed based on their physical stats.
And how much do you charge for that, I guess, is the bottom line for me.
So we haven't come up with a price for that yet.
Okay.
So because we're going to have, like I said, a free service and a premium service, I'm guesstimating about $20 a month for the premium service, and you'll have like a free service and a premium service. But Yeah, so that's big.
That's where I wanted to.
Yeah.
So, man.
Lady,
So I have a question. First of all, it excites me to hear you talk about mental wellness. That is the number one thing that these youngsters are struggling with. I'm a mental health therapist and a mental wellness coach, and I see a lot of kids come to me distraught, right? A lot of the coaches aren't emotionally stable either because they didn't make it, so they take it out. Or it's the parents living their lives through the kids. So it is a lot of heaviness on these kids. My son plays soccer, right? Which I'm gonna get to that component later. And I see firsthand, mostly it's the parents who are weird and the kids who are a little bit stable, so they're embarrassed because the parents are wigging out, right? But that's another story for another day. I am excited to know, will y'all ever incorporate soccer? I don't know if you know what's going on in Fayetteville right now. It's a hot commodity. So I believe things in three. Y'all are missing the component, and soccer is the other football. Okay, in the European language, it's called football. So we're going to implement the other football because that is a hot commodity here in Georgia. If the U.S. soccer is about to come here. My son plays for AFC Lightning, and he is on the MLS Next. Right?
Yeah.
So I am constantly shaping and molding him from the other weird kids that listen to their parents and come on the field with the foolery. So we have to condition that. So these kids are going through a lot. My son is in the 8th grade and he's taking 9th and 10th grade classes and trying to stay on top of high school courses while in middle school and playing on the advanced team. That's a lot for a little impact kid, right?
Yeah.
So when they're in that space and we're constantly looking for coaches, he's even taking us to Europe to expand his knowledge and his skills. We hire outside people, right? But that mental health component, it's like a plague. People think it's like a weird thing to talk about. We all go through stuff. So I think, I love the fact that you're incorporating that because it starts as youngsters.
Yeah.
And kids can't control their environment. It's the adults who control their environment for them. So they use sports as an outlet to silence the noise from the foolery that goes on around them. So I'm curious to know, how much will you incorporate the mental wellness? Because that's where it starts with kids in order for them to be great.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm huge on mental wellness. I've seen a lot of the foolishness in sports. I've seen parents just acting a mess. And so I agree with you on that. That's why I was big on mental health. I mean, I've seen parents cussing kids out who are not their kid, and I'm like, you gotta be careful. You cuss out the wrong kid. And there's a parent who might, who might take exception to that. As for the soccer, I do want to incorporate soccer. We had originally had soccer on, but it's because it seemed like too much at one time. Because, if I could put all the sports on, I'd do it, believe me, but soccer is the next, no, I didn't. Honestly, soccer is the next.
Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, you need to put it up in there.
I know soccer's huge, and somebody had informed me that soccer's even more huge for women. Women's soccer, apparently, for the girls, it's huge. So I do want to put soccer on. I'm not opposed to that. And by the way, when we talk sports, I know I haven't said it, but basketball, it's also women's basketball we're supporting too. Just want to make that clear.
But here in Fayette County, the soccer is going to be even bigger now.
Exactly.
So this is a good outlet for you guys to come on in here because they're stationed here in Fayette County.
Yeah. No, we're not opposed to it. It's definitely on our radar. It's
So all the
something
professionals will be here.
But is it in your face?
It is. It's in our face, and that will be the next thing we will add it, right, into our pitch, soccer.
Okay.
Right, we'll be in there. And that's what we need your help with. If we're gonna expand it, all right, this is a community we've talked about, right? We're able to become part of the community, right, and learn and understand, then we can grow it into our platform.
So, anyway, I'm SAT, ACT tutor, so yeah, just to admit my bias right up front. I actually liked everything you talked about. I've tutored a couple of swimmers to go to Tech, for example, for on scholarship. So I get where you're coming from on that, just about everything. But I also wanted to ask, how do you vet your vendors? And after that, can vendors be fired, and can parents also be fired if they're like acting a fool, like you said, or
I think I think we did put rules in the gate, remember?
Yeah, that's part of the community guidelines. If you
Misbehave.
if you misbehave, right, or you go against our community guidelines, yes, those are terms for being banned.
Okay.
Right, so we can't ban, we can put you in timeout, right, for a period of time, give you another period, you come back on, you can get banned, right, for sure.
And for the vendors, we're thinking of having a quality control person who just handles, because one of the things I was telling AD was, I don't want to get surprised by somebody not performing to the standard that we need. I said, I'm going to invest, because we're dealing with kids.
Right.
So I said, we're going to invest in somebody who's kind of going to be our eyes for like the level of behavior and morality, especially dealing with kids. But we're not playing with that. No.
Absolutely.
So we do want to, we're going to have somebody who's going to be checking in on them. And myself personally, that's something I will personally do because, like I said, it's my name it's our names on the company. So that's something I'll personally be involved in.
Okay, cool.
How many D1 scholarship athletes in basketball, football, and maybe even soccer are there right now?
So the percentage of D1 athletes in basketball is 3.5%.
No, I'm actually asking about
How
your
many
market
the numbers?
size. Your market size,
The market size.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
so in Georgia, you have 500,000 basketball players, men and women playing.
Okay.
And I believe it's 3.5 nationally that are playing college basketball. So it is a small percentage from D3 to D1. It's about 3.5% students. For football, it's 7.5%.
I guess my question is, are there 1 million students in the United States trying to get a D1 scholarship? Are there 10 million students trying to get a D1 scholarship? Because that speaks a lot to your fundability, which is your total market opportunity.
Sure.
If there are 1 million students in the United States trying to get a D1 scholarship, and you can get 10% of their parents on your platform, which would be an enormous accessible market or achievable market, then you're only talking about 100,000 users potentially. Period.
So it's more. So the thing is, even though people have not, everybody doesn't become a D1 athlete. There's still a lot of more parents who are involved in trying to get kids. The point. It's not like it's just the kids who make it who are trying.
Right.
There are a ton of kids who are good, who are trying to make it. Like if you look at the kids on average, the seniors who are graduating from any sports team, most of the teams, it's more than half of those kids are trying to go to college.
So
they all just don't make it.
No, we have the delusional parent market.
There's also people who are going to prep. So like post-grad.
Okay.
So even though those kids don't make it right out of high school, some kids go to the prep program to play for 1 year, and then they make it through there, or they go to junior college. So there's still a lot of people in the market. It's just a small percentage make it. But that doesn't mean that those are the only ones whose parents are involved in trying to get them there.
I'm going to share some things that came up. I think first off, the name the athletes portal throws me off immediately because I immediately think of the transfer portal.
Sure.
And it sounds like this is something that you're setting up to mentor athletes through the transfer portal. And that was just, because I can talk to you about college football and college basketball all day long.
Yes.
And the one thing I know is how the transfer portal has affected the March Madness, how it affected the bowl games this year, everything. And so I'm not sure the name the athletes portal takes me as a parent into, you're going to mentor me as a parent through my child's journey into D1 and into potentially the pros, ideally. And I know that percentage goes way down when you go from D1 to the pros.
Yes.
Because I was going to say that's another model for you is take the lifetime of the athlete. So we go from your parents' involvement up to getting you through your college experience, up to mentoring you into the pros. So at some point you're going to want to transfer from being, for a single each user, transition it from being the parent's platform to the athlete's platform so that you have their trust all the way through the lifetime of their career. Because I think the transition to the pros is equally challenging. I think the transfer portal is probably the most challenging thing for athletes right now. I went to a Auburn game last year because they were playing Cal. Go Bears!
Where are you going?
And
Football or basketball?
Football. I don't watch Cal play basketball. That's just too heartbreaking. But they put their NIL contributors on the screen. They're like, "Thank you to our NIL contributors at $75,000 or more in their general NIL fund." These were alumni contributors to NIL. There were 120 names on the screen. So they have 120 people contributing $75,000 or more to their general NIL fund. So I think there's a player entering Utah this year who is he started this fall, he got $7 million as a signing bonus as a high school senior. I think there is so much more money out there than people even realize or are aware. This kid never bounced a ball on a college court and got $7 million.
Age advancement, right?
So that kind of information, I think a lot of parents have no idea how much NIL money is out there and how to even begin to contemplate negotiating that and those deals. And so I think you're like freemium $20. I think you have $100 a month service as well, which goes to the next level. I think you have the opportunity to do $1,000, $2,000 consultations. If you have the AI engine to share every single thing that could be worth it to a kid, if you start tracking everybody's NIL funds, Georgia's NIL fund is disgusting. I mean,
UGA, it's huge.
UGA, my
UGA
God.
is huge.
And like they have, I think, swimmers getting $10,000 just to come there to swim. NIL, like just here you go. So I think that element to it can be beefed up a lot and can be used up as a much bigger component of your revenue model, helping both the parent and the athlete figure out how to negotiate that. I think we have massive NIL agents. That's a really strong area to have a revenue review model around. Who do you trust your NIL agent now?
I'll address that too, by the way.
Oh, okay. So then the only other things I want to add is there's an app that's been around for about 5 years now. It's called AI Scout. AI, you know AI Scout, okay. They were super well funded 5 years ago because their founders were super wealthy. So before you go into soccer, make sure you look at what AI Scout is doing, just because yes, soccer is a phenomenal model for you, but if somebody who literally started with $100 million in funding is in that space, just think about that. And then there's an organization called ACE, which is the Association of Colleges and Employers. They have, it brings employers together with college career organizations. So they have conferences all over the country. They have regional chapters. There's the SOACE. SOAC is SOACE. They have an annual conference. Their next one is in Memphis or Nashville coming up. And all of the college career counselors in that region, in the South, are going to be there. And then they have a national conference where all the college career counselors. So if you want to talk to college career counselors about your platform, they have vendors. They have exhibit hall. So I don't know if you want to pay to be an exhibitor or just pay to go to the conference and walk around and talk to people. But every college career counselor goes to that.
I definitely want to do that.
Okay.
I appreciate it. In the back with the glasses, is the lady over there? Yes.
Just jumping on the career coaching stuff, as a certified career coach, you need to tap into that at the high school level, right? Because obviously they're bridging into college, and a lot of times there's a deficit for career coaching in the schools or the career counselors in the schools. So I would recommend definitely tapping into that. I am a member of an association, National Career Development Association, and there are individual career coaches that work with middle school, high school, college. So
I'd like to get your information, please.
Absolutely.
Because I definitely want to learn more about that.
So that's important to the other side of things, because not everybody is a Michael Jordan.
No, I'm going to get back to you after the
So one thing I thought, I'm a financial coach, and for all these kids making, I mean, that's obscene amounts of money at such a young age. I mean, adults don't know how to manage money like that at an adult age. So having people, some vendors that are financial advisors, tax professionals, financial coaches, people who can really understand how to help parents and children. They're still children until they're 25. Their brains are not fully developed, boys, sorry. But, I mean, I know adults at 60 who can't manage money. So it's getting to this place where you can really help them understand how to make that money last, because I know that NFL stands for not for long. And
Yes.
how many NFL players grow up in the hood, make a shit ton of money, and then they're broke again.
Yeah.
And so we want to get that to the place where it becomes a legacy.
I agree with you 100%, and I've heard some parents talking about that, where their kids are signing out and, big deals, and they're getting involved, getting financial advisors.
Yeah.
So
It's-
and that's
it's
something we can
important.
put as a vendor on the platform. Gentlemen in the red shirt.
So you have all these parents signing up, and let's say, it becomes wildly successful, you got, 50,000 people. You have parents that are on this platform. I'm wondering, well, it seems like it's a large group of people for me to call up and say, well, how? It seems like they're random. I don't know if any of these parents are incredible. It's just like I'm out there floating in the ether again. How would you're not screening parents, anybody can sign up, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So I would just say, if there's gonna be parents that I can call on a platform, if there's a large number of people, to me, you just haven't convinced me that who I'm talking to is credible. It's just like if your platform wasn't there, and I was just kind of out there poking around in a large group of people on my own. I'm just like, who are these folks? Are they credible? I trust what they're saying, because it's a large group of people.
Sure. I think first and foremost, I think people are used to being on social platforms nowadays because we have platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook. This is something that, is now a part of our society. Because when I go on to LinkedIn, I connect with people who I don't always know. So I think this is something that's not out of the norm. And I think also as you're building the community and you're communicating, that's part of it. You're getting to know people. Also, sports parents are very different. Like they're very different. As this lady over here, they can be a little crazy. But I'll tell you, sports parents enjoy engaging with each other. I mean, my son also played baseball. I can't tell you how many conversations I had with baseball parents. Just you're out there all day talking to people. This is something sports parents are very comfortable doing. I talk to parents who are on the other team. So it's not strange to parents, especially parents who have student athletes, to talk to complete strangers.
Well, I hear what you're saying. You're saying, how do you validate that a parent is real and the kid is real? Like that you actually talking to some real people, going back to the trust thing. Right?
That's right. That's a better more succinct way to put it.
Right. So we have to, in our platform, we have to build in that due diligence to validate the parent says who they are. Right, in regards to we got to take all the measures that we can, right? But to your point, we have to consider are they real, right? In this day and age, you can make up things pretty quickly, pretty easy. So that's something we have to build in.
Yeah.
I just somebody to move back.
Last but not least, I want to talk about your framework and your structure. I have several suggestions. One, you need to build local groups, parents groups. Like this is a local group, you see the number of people are here.
Yes.
Somewhere else has another local group, somewhere else has another local group. Local groups will build this for you because the parents are invested in this. The other framework I would like to discuss is the fact that you need a process in which you provide guidelines that allow me to come to you so that, I'll take my back, I'm an auntie, NFL, I think about 3 athletes right now. Okay, let's retire. If we had a guide sheet, and they were in the elementary school, junior high school, even college, one of them had a pre-agent that went to college with him and lived with him for his 4 years. And the only reason we knew about that, someone suggested it to us, and this person was a pre-agent that needs somewhere to live, so we said, okay, go live with my nephew. All right? So if there was a check sheet that was available online that's sending to you, and you can have a price for that check sheet, but I can download for my kids through that entire phase of being an athlete. The other one is more or less, how do you build an athlete? What you need to know, what you need to know, what you don't know. Educate me as far as how to build that career, because you don't have that experience. And so in addition to this, as far as you should have contracts where there is an opportunity for the parent that's dealing with these amateurs. What exactly do I need to know, and who I need to partner with to make sure that this person is a professional, so they should be vetted.
So you mean a contract with the trusted expert?
That is whomever you trust in your child with.
Okay, so you're saying you want on the platform, if I understand.
On your platform.
On the platform, have contract between the vendor and the
That is correct, and
That's a good point. That's a good
more or
point.
less the local groups where we can go
Local.
in and, let's don't tell you about the moms. The moms will sign up one of those groups.
That's a great
You
idea.
do not have to be bothered.
Yeah.
They're gonna make sure they will more or less run those groups for you.
Gotcha.
You have to create a community, but you have to create a
A
structure.
subgroup. Okay, so if I understand you correctly, I get this, I get what you're saying. So we have the community, and within the community, there's a group of moms from Fayetteville. And they kind of run that
That is
show.
correct.
That makes sense. That's
And guess
actually
what?
great.
You will have thousands of groups
Yeah,
that's local to the community.
I like that.
That primarily, they can give them a heads up. Hey, this person can't be trusted.
Yeah,
I
I
had
like
this
that.
person, blah, 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 in school, yada, yada, yada. And
I like
that's
that.
what they need to know. You don't have to kind of monitor, it's self-monitoring.
Yeah,
But
that's
you
true.
have to give them the opportunity
I
to
like that.
connect. So your thing is connectivity.
Yes.
And then within that connectivity, please give me the framework, please give me the instructions,
Yeah.
please tell me the professionals.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
so, and for each one of these, you can charge a fee. So your income. Now, as far as financing this, you take this to the players, the NFL, you, $300,000, no money in that arena.
Yeah.
But you have to have something that says, we got you. We're protecting you. You keep saying you're protecting the athlete, but you did not tell me how. I'm more or less conveying to you how.
I
You
respect
must
that.
have subgroups.
I agree. No, 100%. I appreciate that. That's great feedback. That makes sense. Hold on, sorry.
I was just gonna share,
I'll get back.
I'm an entrepreneur also, so like we all are in here. You've got the grandiose thing here. You launched it when? When did y'all launch?
We haven't launched yet.
You haven't launched yet?
We're in the process.
So y'all
Yeah.
built the process at the present time?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the present time, there's nobody in the community at
No.
present? Okay, so this is
So
just.
literally what I've been doing is putting the social media feeds out, so the Instagram, and just setting that up, and then, like you said, building it and looking through it. So,
Okay, so bring it back in less. So then the 300,000, how would that be most utilized to help support you guys?
Yeah, so that's the build out, right? So we do have a proof of concept, so now we want to take it to the next level so we can get tested. So that, the $300,000 is for a year, right? But we want to, our target is to have a working product in 2 months and start to build that community and the infrastructure around that. So that's what that represents.
Okay, all right.
So, again, biased, but I was wondering if you wanted to do, like, basically vendors, say vendors were on your board for free, but they are like highly vetted. And the reason that would be is because I could see a perspective where a parent might think like, oh, it's just highest, whoever is paying to be on the, like a vendor is paying to be there versus they've been vetted. So if you made it a point to say like, we vet everybody, we do it X, Y, Z, and you can say how you do it, and this is who we trust, bar none. I don't know if there was a situation like I said, where if you're requiring vendors to pay, if their perception becomes that just the person that pays the most is there, even if that's not true.
So, no, so we do have to charge vendors because it is a business.
No.
And what they're paying for is the ability to have a storefront, much like a Shopify.
Right.
So it's serving the vendors because, like I said, I've worked with personal trainers and people who are in that space. They don't like the business side of dealing with it.
Right.
It becomes a pain, like sometimes you have to pay trainers. It's a pain, like they don't have a system in place. You're having to do like, Cash App, this and that. They don't do that well. They don't have a scheduling system. They don't have a place where they can monitor how many sessions they've done. The business side of that is not what they do well. So we're serving them. We're also giving them an opportunity to connect with a whole new marketplace. So I always say, what's the value, right? So there's value for them. And then, like I said, we're working on vetting them. And then also on their platform, they can have like reference, recommendations, like referrals based on, based on how they perform. So I think that really is the best way to build that trust. And then they're on the platform, they're talking to people. So they're on the platform doing what I call like seminars. So a lot of people, if you look at a lot of people who are on social media, like on Instagram, who are experts at what they do, they're posting all the time talking about what they do. They're building credibility and building an audience. So we allow them to do that on our platform. That's how you build trust.
Okay.
So they provide a value, and then people hire them.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. I want you to know that the only reason people are getting up is not because they're bored. We've just gone way over time. So with that, I do just want to, I forgot to bring the mugs. But I do just want to say thank you to these guys for coming down from Marietta to share this with us. Thank you to everybody who showed up to support them today, and we will see you again next week.
Yes.